What's up, internet? Welcome back. This is Linzer22. This is the first episode of Sega Break, and I'm just going to do these long form episodes all about Sega once a month, and that's going to be the first Wednesday of every month. I'll try to make sure I hit the Wednesday, but I can't make any promises. I mean, especially since this is mostly just a hobby thing that I do. So this is going to consist of mostly just Sega headlines that I gathered within the month, but because I prepped for this kind of late in the month, most of these headlines were towards the end of the month, which is fine because they actually had some things to talk about. If you haven't noticed from any of the previous videos that I've done, I'm pretty much a Sega fan. I started off as a Sonic fan, still am a Sonic fan, and I branched out and kind of learned more about the Sega IP and really got into it. And to be honest, I was kind of late on some of that. Now, back then I did own a Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive if you're outside the States. I had a Sega Game Gear, loved that thing, although the batteries only lasted a couple minutes, and a Dreamcast. I actually skipped out on the Saturn, and believe it or not, but during the time the Saturn actually existed, I actually didn't know it existed. I just had my Sega Genesis, and I had a couple friends talking about a PlayStation. But there was no one around me talking about the Sega Saturn at the time. It almost seemed like it didn't exist. And then later on, when I started to dive deeper into classic video games, because for some reason around the time when I got the GameCube, I started looking online, just seeing what other consoles exist, because I got super into video games. And then I saw that there was a Sega Saturn, and I'm like, what? When was that? It totally flew by me, and I was so confused because when I had a Sega Genesis, I remember I was all about Sega and I wanted nothing to do with Nintendo. But for some reason, after Sega Genesis, I went straight to the Nintendo 64. I even glossed over the PlayStation because at the time I was thinking, you're a new company, I have no idea who you are and I don't care, because that's what you do when you're in a console war. Of course, now that I'm older, I don't look that way at all. I just kind of look at all the consoles that are given to me and look at all the exclusives and think, hey, that's so cool. I can get a PlayStation exclusive here, an Xbox exclusive here, and a Nintendo Switch exclusive here. It's the more the merrier, There's no more of that, well, my Sega Genesis has Sonic the Hedgehog and your Nintendo has an Italian plumber that I just don't care about. I'd say that that's better. But at the same time, when there was a console war that was kind of over dramatic as it was, we got some interesting innovations. And sometimes I look at what's going on right now in the video game industry and I just kind of see stagnation. But I say that, and then the Nintendo Switch happened, and I would not say that's stagnation. So the Nintendo Switch is pretty much against what I say. They're going against the grain. They are the innovation in this modern generation of video games. Well, that was me rambling a little bit. You guys came here for Sega. By the way, I actually picked up a Retrobit Sega Genesis wireless controller because I was enjoying the Sega Genesis Mini, and I think that little console is actually really awesome. And I only had one issue, and it's that there's wires, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not used to this anymore. So I wanted to pick up a wireless controller, and I found one. I purchased it, and I plugged it into my Sega Genesis Mini. Haven't used it yet. Maybe I'll talk about it in next video, so next month's video. And I'll let you guys know what I think about it. There are extra buttons on it, so I could use this for other systems such as the Switch or maybe even my Windows computer. By the way, my Windows computer isn't all that great. It's a Surface tablet. I'm mostly using it for RetroArch because I just want to emulate games on it, because that's all I really want to do. If I want to play any new games on anything, I think I'd rather do it on the Switch, but that's just me. All right, today's topics are the Sonic 2020 updates coming this year. You can stream a UFO Catcher to win real prizes. And let's talk about the Phantasy Star Online 2 beta that's going to come for the Xbox One. Sega revealed a new project called Sonic 2020, where throughout 2020, on the 20th of every month, information will be given to us. And that is information based on the Sonic franchise. They're not giving us any specific information on what to expect, but I think it's a build-up for the Sonic 30th anniversary in 2021. And if you've seen my videos in the past, you know that I've mentioned that Iizuka has mentioned that 2021 is going to be another year of Sonic. All of the information that will be posted on the 20th of each month will be posted on the Sonic channel, and they'll be doing some giveaways and some fan art contests, so it'll be interesting to watch. This month there was no information, but you can consider the announcement of this, I guess, this announcement of announcements that's going to start this year as maybe the first part of the announcements. For this month, they're giving out some PC and smartphone wallpapers, some Twitter profile pictures. So if you were interested in grabbing something like that, go ahead and check it out so you can download those images. And let's also remember that Sonic's Twitter had a interesting thank you message for the end of 2019, and it had a hidden message. So we are definitely being pointed at something. We just don't know what it is yet. And I'm excited to see what these announcements will be. Of course, I could totally picture that some of these months will have filler, but I'm more excited about the serious news that's going to come out of this. I will be patiently waiting, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is an interesting way for them to post news? I mean, I get why it's the 20th, it's because of 2020, but I don't know, it's kind of unique that they're telling us that they're going to post news every 20th of every month instead of like a specific day of, or I don't know, it's interesting, and I'm excited to see how this turns out. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below if you're excited for any news that's going to come from this. Well, it looks like Sega's gonna step into the streaming game. Well, they're not really making their own streaming service, but instead they have this game, or I guess app, I'm not really sure. I would consider it a game technically. And it's where you can play a claw game or a UFO Catcher, whatever you wanna call it. And you can stream online, play a real one, and if you win, that item will get mailed to you. So if you're sitting on the couch and you're thinking, I really wanna play a UFO Catcher right now, but you just do not want to get into your local arcade and figure all that stuff out, like refilling your card with points so that you can do that, then download the Sega Catcher Online app and you can possibly win a toy. Now, there's a few things that they've mentioned about this, and before I mention them, I just want to say that this was actually already released in Japan about 3 years ago. You were able to play it on a PC, basically, but this is coming to mobile in the US, and it seems like the actual UFO Catcher is going to be played over in Japan because they're making it very clear that if you do win an item, it will take about a week for it to get there, meaning that it's probably far away. Okay, so how it basically works, you get a free practicing machine so that you can eventually get good at the timing. Because it's streaming, there's going to be latency, or at least I presume there will be. And if they can figure out latency without being as big as Google or Microsoft, then that must be pretty amazing. But they are not Google or Microsoft, so you can expect latency. Of course, as with most, if not all, mobile games, it will have an in-game currency that you will use to play these claw machines. And that in-game currency will be Sega points. A game will cost about 100 to 200 Sega points, and 130 of them cost $200 because they never have exact numbers, because then you could easily calculate how much it costs. So they do this weird fraction thing. So with the numbers, you can probably figure out the cost of each game. Of course, this is a mobile game, so players will be awarded free currency as you would expect, just from logging in regularly and all that stuff. Of course, these games are really meant to kind of lure you into a spending spree, so maybe someone will get addicted and they'll keep winning toys. There is a way to make sure that if you keep winning games, that you don't just get a bunch of free things. Like if you're really good at it or something like that, you get one delivery per week for free if you win. But if you keep winning, then you will actually have to pay for the delivery. So yeah, you'll still need to purchase them if you're really good at the game. But I mean, if you're good enough, you get one free toy a week, then that should be good enough. I mean, do you really need all those stuffed animals? So what do you guys think? Do you guys have an interest in playing this thing, or do you guys look at this and go, not for me? Let me know down below. Phantasy Star Online 2 has been around in Japan for quite a while, and it's a franchise that I actually have fond memories for, and it's an awesome franchise. But unfortunately, the West has not had it. But that will change because a beta for the Xbox One will be coming. And the beta will be the weekend of February 7th. It will be a closed beta test. And it will feature fully localized English language text and voices. At least that's what Sega has said. And if you are lucky enough to participate in this beta, your progress will carry over to the full game, which will launch on Xbox One spring of 2020 and a PC version coming later. I'm really excited for this game, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, it's not a game I'm really looking for right now, but it's a game I've looked at for quite some time, and I'm glad it's finally coming to the West. I just hope it's not too late. I will definitely take a look at this game. I will play it, let you guys know what I think about it. I'm super excited because, like I mentioned earlier, I like the Phantasy Star Online games. The last one I played was, I believe, Phantasy Star Universe for Xbox 360. I don't know, it was quite a while ago. And I don't really have that much memories of that one. Most of my memories come from the GameCube version. I didn't really play it online on my own GameCube, but I had a neighbor who had his connected to the internet, and he would play all the time, and he paid for the pass or whatever. So I'd play his game, and then honestly, it was fun. I really enjoyed it, even though I did not get to experience it as my own game, which is unfortunate because I would love to finally experience this game in that way. And once the beta goes through, I'm sure we will get a lot more information. I'm sure a lot of things will end up on YouTube, so we get to watch it. I'm pretty excited. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys stoked that it's finally coming over here and we get to finally play this game? Or do you not care because you've played the Japanese version somehow? Or do you just not care in general? Let me know down below. Alright, well that sums up the first episode of Sega Break, and that's the first of many episodes to come. Once again, these episodes will come out the first Wednesday of every month. They will discuss all of the headlines of Sega because I'm a Sega fan, and I presume if you're listening to this, you've got to be a Sega fan yourself. So, if there's any topics that you felt like I missed, leave it down below in the comments so that I can at least make sure to touch on that in the next episode. I want to thank you guys for listening, and if you guys enjoyed this and you look forward to the future episodes, make sure to subscribe, and I will be back with more.